Well, these seltzers and canned cocktails, they'll make you the king of the cooler.
Oh, that sounds good. Wow, I can fill my cooler without emptying my wallet?
Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. With the lowest prices in Nashville. Drink responsibly, B21.
Progressive is America's #1 motorcycle insurer, so we understand motorcycles. No, really, we have a bike translator.
Okay, this is awkward, but this bike says he'd appreciate it if you removed his skull pattern saddlebags. He feels self-conscious about them around all the other bikes, and he says you're not fooling anyone. You mostly ride with your golfing buddies. Listen, I'm just the messenger here. Oh, no, I don't want to say that. I think you made yourself clear.
Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Dell Technologies wants to celebrate all your hard work with these Small Business Month specials. Get great value offers on powerful laptops, desktops, and servers with Windows 11 Pro starting at $499. Plus top monitors and docks, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. It's the perfect time to upgrade so you and your team can stay secure from anywhere. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL to refresh your business tech with these Small Business Month specials. Dell recommends Windows 11 Pro for business.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in, hour number 3. Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we are pleased to be joined by our friend Mitch Light from The Athletic. Mitch, as we discussed earlier, once Jace McCabe walks in this building, the two people that can fire Joe Rexrode will be here at the same time.
You could double fire me with him if you want.
You could really just take the axe to him immediately.
Yeah, I know Chase can. I don't know, while I'm Joe's editor and technically I guess I'm your supervisor.
You could get me fired?
I can get you fired. I don't think I can fire you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's okay. But now I do know when I text Joe in the morning all the time and he doesn't get back to me, now I know he's actually doing something. So
it's not just a joke.
Yeah, it's like every 15 minutes or whatever the segments are, 12 minutes, Joe gets back to me. So now I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a day job.
Just email HR.
That's right. That's right.
I will.
Well, Mitch, we're excited to have you here today. Going to join us for the next hour here to discuss a little college football. And, boys, there's a lot to talk about on that front. Let's just start with the Nick Saban comments from last night. We were just discussing this, and Joe had his Rex rant about this, about Nick Saban and his comments on Texas A&M and NIL, basically saying that Texas A&M bought all their players and that, I don't know, in the future, Alabama's done things the right way, but they may not be able to sustain all this. What do you make of Saban and those comments last night that obviously, it's been all over ESPN this morning. It's generating a ton of reaction everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are like me, but, you might go to bed a little bit earlier because you have the morning show, but I'm, watching Joe's Warriors last night, run it up.
Look pretty good.
And, on my phone, every once in a while I'll pick things, and then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And then we have, our Slack channels at work, our college football, Slack channels, and, we need to do something on this. And then you see the responses, and then, this is going to be a story. And, Nick Saban doesn't say things for no reason. At first you're like, what was it was it a booster event or a quarterback club type thing?
Yeah, it was promoting the World Games in Birmingham.
Okay,
yes.
so 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when Phil Fulmer or, Gene Stallings was on the off-season tour, they would go, they'd speak to a bunch of boosters, and they'd say a whole bunch of stuff. That was the whole Free Shoes University thing with Spurrier. It might get out. A lot of times it didn't. But nowadays, obviously, with internet, phones recording, and there was an actual Alabama beat writer there. I think the guy who tweeted out
Rodak,
it was from AL.com. And that was the first thing. It's Joe, as you know, a tweeter of press conferences, you can tweet an excerpt of something and it might be misconstrued. That was not misconstrued. There was video of it, so there's no walking that back. Not that Nick Saban wants to walk it back. So, The whole thing is fascinating. A couple of weeks ago, Andy Staples, did you read that story? He had an in-depth story. He went to College Station and talked to the people there about, kind of debunked that myth, rumor that they bought all their players. They said, sure, the NIL was involved, but I'm kind of on a tangent here, but the point was like, we couldn't mobilize that quickly to pay all these guys. What it's going to do is set us up for the future. Did all of their guys just sign with the University of Alabama because they want to wear the crimson and play for Alabama? A lot of them do. Their track record going to the NFL. So there's a lot of charcoal. And to quote my friend Fletch, gray area, there's a lot of charcoal in college football.
Yes.
So none of us really know who to believe, but it just adds so much. Like what the meetings in Destin are in like 2 weeks. I mean, that is going to be fantastic. So my long-winded answer saying it's great for us in the media. It's great. Alabama fans are fired up. Texas A&M fans are super fired up, and I'm sure Nick Saban doesn't love the fact that a team that he's going to play every year just signed 7 top 125 defensive linemen. It wasn't just their class was incredible. But the most important position in football, other than quarterback, is defensive line. And go to 247 Sports and look at their class. There's just monsters on the defensive line.
So do you buy into? And we were talking about this in the last segment. Tennessee fans have thrown this out there, but a lot of people have thrown this out there. Of as you said, Saban doesn't say things for no reason. Do you think that he's worried about the trajectory of the sport in terms of not the I love the good old days of amateur football, but the gap is closing and that other teams are closing the gap on Alabama because of NIL and recruiting?
Yeah, I think on both fronts. I do think there's something to that. This guy, we can be cynical, but this guy spent 50 years in college football, or most of it in college football, some in the NFL, and he wants the good of the game. He wants the sport to flourish after he retires, but in the immediate future, he wants to keep winning national championships, and he has a huge advantage with what he's built there. Now you can roll your eyes and say, well, they've done some things in recruiting. Every school does stuff in recruiting, but why would it's just natural for him to be concerned about something that is going to allow some of his competitors to close the gap. And Texas A&M has closed the gap talent-wise. Now they haven't won anything yet, and someone just posted, I was looking on Twitter, a great little graphic about Kevin Sumlin's first X amount of games and Jimbo Fisher's X amount of games, and wins were the same, and road wins. Sumlin had a lot more road wins, and so it's clear with the money they're paying Jimbo Fisher at some point in the very near future, he needs to win some games.
So, the thing with Texas A&M also is, by the way, they've been rolling not to this extent, but they've had top 5 classes?
3 top 6 classes in a row before this.
Yeah, okay. So
it's no shock
what was happening then. And maybe some of the same stuff that has been happening at a lot of places.
Yeah, and people will make comments about living in College Station, but I've been there for a football game. It's a great environment. I don't know why you it might not be your cup of tea, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to go play at Texas A&M. It's got great tradition. It's the best student, the largest student crowd, and they have 42,000 student tickets. It's not like this is happening and no shot at Missouri, but a school like maybe that doesn't have the tradition, or they don't have the history and all that stuff. Texas A&M is one of the weirder places in college football because it has everything except you look at why haven't they done it, and maybe they're about to do it. Now they've poured so much money into the facilities, and I used to say it's more than that. But a school like Texas A&M doesn't spend $750 million on facilities to finish in 3rd place in the SEC West.
I mean, the whole who wants to live there? Anybody ever been to State College, Pennsylvania?
Right.
There is no reason to ever go there, let alone live there. But these huge public universities it's a world of their own. So,
right. I think here spoiled's not the right word, but people in Tennessee, Knoxville is a city. Columbia, South Carolina is a city. But other than that, most SEC towns are what you think of when you think of a college town.
Mitch, we had Philip Fulmer on yesterday, and he was talking about NIL and the direction that it's headed. And, obviously, Fulmer's an old school guy and had concerns about what this could mean as they move forward. I'm curious from your perspective, now that you've seen NIL unfold now for a while, what do you think of it? What do you think of the direction of college football? And Do you think that this ever kind of gets, Fulmer used the term regulated or scaled back a little bit? Do you think that ever happens with NIL moving forward?
I think I'm like everyone else. I just don't know. I mean, I'm concerned a lot of things I think there's some of it that's great for college football and some of it's not good for college football. I think these guys should be able to profit off their name, image, and likeness. I think I'm probably like a lot of coaches and fans of schools. Like, I don't like the recruiting inducement part of it, and that's the way it was written. It's not being enforced that way. And I'll use Tennessee as a great example. Like, Hendon Hooker had a great year last year. He more than maybe anyone is the reason for that the profile of that program rising and, a fun place to go play now. He should be able to make all the money that car dealerships or whatever want to pay him. That's what NIL should be about. Inducing a kid to go there for X amount of $1 million is not what NIL should be about. It should be about the guys who are there. And I think that's Nick Saban's point. He was like, Bryce Young should be able to make a lot of money because he's the quarterback at the University of Alabama. When you're doing it to bring recruits in, it's a slippery slope. Maybe I'm naive. I do think over the next few years there will be some sort of legislation enforcement, but I right now it's hard. It's difficult to sit here and say right now how it's going to be enacted, but I think at some point, whether it's the Power 5, the top 65 teams breaking off and having their own enforcement, I don't know what it's going to look like. But Joe, I don't know what you think.
A salary cap?
I don't know. I mean, again, I like the fact that the current players are able to make money. I don't like the fact that it's being used to induce, and that's the right word, induce recruits.
I know we have to go to break, but let me just say, I couldn't disagree more with you.
Well, we'll get to that coming up next. We'll get Joe's retort coming up on the other side. We've got Mitch Light from The Athletic in with us here for the next hour, talking all things college football. We'll take your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Attention men, have you been struggling with erectile dysfunction? Well, Hillside Medical Clinic has a breakthrough treatment for ED that does not require any pills, injections, or surgery. And right now, Andrew joins me from Hillside Medical Clinic to tell us all about it. Andrew, what's going on?
Well, that's right. This is a major game changer, guys. If you're frustrated in the bedroom experiencing erectile dysfunction, likely your blood vessels are a little bit damaged. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Pressure waves basically come out of the device through the skin into the blood vessels, clinically causing those blood vessels to widen. You can imagine that does great things to life in the bedroom, more blood flow, more circulation without the use of pills.
So, Andrew, what kinds of clinical studies have been done on this technology?
It is extensive. We're approaching 60 clinical studies. Imagine that. Colleges and universities all over the world have studied this, called it safe and effective. They have said that this is even the new standard of care for erectile dysfunction.
And, Andrew, you got a special offer if our listeners call in right now.
We do. ED, guys, it doesn't go away on its own. In fact, it might get worse. Call us now. We'll set you up with the exam, the assessment, even the ultrasound, totally free. There's zero obligation to this, by the way. You'll also get a powerful gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You'll love it. Call us now. It's all no charge.
That's right, guys. You can put a stop to your erectile dysfunction by treating the root cause of the problem. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now to qualify for that offer at 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your ED and regain your love life. Call Hillside Medical Clinic right now at 615-576-5000.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Get a king bed for a queen price at Mattress Firm and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture, eat strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with three-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
2 locations to serve you, Columbia Kubota or Franklin Kubota. Visit them online at ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise and the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say? Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And you've read about them. You know who they are. I mean, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team. Made a deal for name, image, and likeness. All right, we didn't buy one player. All right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it.
You ever been to a game here? You ever come to school here and see the education? You ever talk about the 12th man, the Aggie Network when you're done? There ain't a better university in this country. And it's insulting to what you say. And all these, and we got writers who have said it and done it off sliced bread. A guy named Slice who made it up. Love to see who sliced bread is and put it out there with sliced bread. Let me find out where it comes from. And then to have coaches in our league and across this league to say it, clown acts. All right? Irresponsible as hell. Multiple coaches in our league. And the guy's griping about NIL, griping about transfer portal, using it the most and bragging about it the most. That's the ironic part. You want character? I'll take it with any of y'all. It's a joke. It does piss me off.
That was Jimbo Fisher earlier this offseason. I forgot about the sliced bread. God, it's amazing. I can't wait for Jimbo Fisher's response to Nick Saban. It's going to be just incredible. Somebody needs to get a microphone in front of his face today.
Well, you know who else is going to chime in today? The guy he was referring to in that soundbite, too, Lane Kiffin.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Lane's going to have some sort of take.
Oh, there's no question.
And then once Heupel gets going,
it's really going to get in
so
there.
outspoken,
That's
that guy
right.
just can't shut him up.
That's right. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, and Mitch Light here with you, talking all things college football for the next hour. So, Joe, you have a retort to what Mitch threw out there in the last segment.
You disagree with me?
I mean, I've got a few. I've got multiple grievances to air right now.
Festivus.
Well, first of all, So first of all, in our off the air coming in, we were talking about the Kentucky thing. Like you were talking in general about we don't know exactly, we don't see it, we don't know exactly what to believe. You went with the idea, Calipari, okay, had a certain reputation, right? Memphis went to Kentucky. I mean, basically when he went to Kentucky, everybody's like, oh, so Kentucky's like, we need to cheat more, right? I mean, that was. But maybe with all the success, guys going to the NBA, then that stops. Again, I totally disagree. If you're forced to be in college for a year, you have multiple options of places where you can be comfortable for that year. You're going to be comfortable for that year. Your family's going to get something, and you should. And this goes to my big grievance. I 100% disagree that it's bad that they get induced and get paid to play. You know how much work it takes to get to the point where you're a top recruit in the country? You have to have an incredible amount of talent. You have to develop the talent. You have something very valuable to offer. Now, you may be overpaid, and there's going to be – right?
That's not your fault.
That's not your fault.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like I always go with like the Belmont, like the kid writing the song, and you get paid $1 million for the country singer. Well, what's wrong, right? But that's more what you're talking about.
But he's already at Belmont maybe making that song.
Agree. But you know
using
what?
their equipment, using their great sound, I don't know the terminology because I'm not a writer or musician. Sound stuff.
Right. No, and I agree that like the Hendon Hooker story is the best story of NIL. the athlete on campus who, like, and maybe I think with Hendon Hooker, I don't know that he's going to be an NFL quarterback, but he actually is going to be like have a nest egg now.
Right, he will make some money for his what he's done for that university.
Yep, absolutely. So I agree. But like, I'm totally fine with if you have that to offer and you are that in a multi-billion-dollar industry and you have that much value. Why can't you get paid up front for it?
Okay, I that's a fair point. I just disagree. I think it's get your money once you get there and prove your worth to that school.
But you can't be surprised. Look, I'm
not surprised by anything.
Yeah, I think I'll speak for myself. Okay. I'm surprised by the numbers.
Yes.
The amounts that have already skyrocketed, but yeah,
okay.
I mean, we're not surprised that this is happening, right?
Yeah, I'm older than you by maybe a year or two, so I'll play the old man. Back in my day, if I were a coach, the thing that would just, I mean, a lot of this would just, their jobs are more difficult with NIL and transfer portal and all this stuff. It's the locker room chemistry type thing, because this stuff's been going on for years. My son should be playing over this other kid, but like if you're a wide receiver there and you think you're better than Joe Rexrode who's starting and Joe has all this NIL stuff, and then this dad gets involved and he's calling. There's just so many more headaches and so much more locker room issues. Now, who was it? It was Steve Sarkisian. Sam Kahn, we call him our Techspert. Does a great job. He went to the Houston Touchdown Club yesterday and wrote a story off of Steve Sarkisian's appearance there, and someone asked him,
how was that? Did he apparently wasn't as eventful.
It wasn't as spicy. He made it clear though that they want Arch Manning really, really bad.
Yes.
But the point was that about locker room chemistry, and of course Sarkisian's not going to come out and say it's going to blow up the locker room. That Bijan Robinson has a deal with some car, and he's like, well, he deserves that because he's a fine young man. He's a great presence in our locker room, and our other guys see that, and they know something to strive for. I mean, that's total coach speak there. But, like, let's say, Bijan Robinson's among the most talented players in the country, but let's say a wide receiver who's not as talented, and I'm just making this up, gets this. What does that do to the locker room? And, again, you can sit there and say I'm being naive and all that and an old man, but I don't think that part of it's great for the sport.
One thing that I'm interested about that I want to get both your thoughts on, some of the money that's being tossed around right now is just insane. I mean, we've talked about the $8 million quarterback and all that stuff. I'm interested to see, as this continues to evolve here, does the money stay the same? Does the money grow? Does the money get scaled back a little bit? Because, Mitch, you know this. I mean, there are going to be guys coming in that get paid millions of dollars that totally flop and don't work out. And it's a waste of money. You don't get your return on investment if you're the collective or that program, however lens you want to view it through. I'm interested to see if the money stays the same or if it eventually gets scaled back. What are your thoughts on the amount of money that's being thrown around here, and how do you think that evolves as NIL continues to move forward here?
Oh, I'm like you guys. The money part of it has surprised me in the amount getting thrown out, and I do you think the money will dry up? That's my thing. Like, if a collective A is raising $30 million a year for a recruiting class, is that sustainable? Maybe it is at some places. Maybe it's not. Maybe certain people, the donor A who's given $10 million a year is going to be like, look, here's what I've done. We've used it, me and the staff, to get these X recruits, and they haven't panned out. To kind of your point.
So I'm scaling back my
yeah. Maybe. But if enough people do that, then where does the money come from? Here, I'm part. In addition to being Joe's editor, I am the recruiting editor at The Athletic. So I deal with Ari Wasserman, our recruiting writer, and I've really.
What do you mean deal with him? You work joyfully with him.
Deal with my third child, Ari Wasserman.
That's right.
And we have a podcast, a quick plug, called Stars Matter. It's a recruiting podcast, and every week I do a trivia question. It's just kind of like fodder to talk about certain things. And here's one I did yesterday, and this is to your point, Robbie. How many of the top 30 quarterbacks in the 2019 recruiting classes are projected starters at the school which they signed heading into 2022?
Oh, that's a great one.
I'm going to guess 8.
Okay, top 30.
Top 30. So it's class of 2019. So 19.
By the way, it's a total guess.
So it's their
that's not bad.
fourth year on campus.
Yeah, that's not bad. But I'll go even lower. I'll go 5.
It's 5 with an asterisk. Well, Sam Howell started for 3 years and is in the NFL.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Graham Mertz at Wisconsin's number 5. Max Duggan at TCU is number 10. Hank Bachmeier at Boise State. Cade McNamara and KJ Jefferson. Point being, it's rare when a top 200, 300 quarterback that you sign is your starting quarterback at that school 3 or 4 years down the line. So is it a wise investment to put your money in that position? It's the most important position in the sport, but it's also a position which only one person can play, and there's a lot of guys who bust.
Yeah, but and Ubben kind of made me, David Ubben, of course, who covers college football for us. He kind of changed my mind on this. He's like, because I've kind of thought like, it's going to course correct a little bit, right? But I mean, look at the money. I mean, look at the facilities money that gets raised, that has gotten raised. You know what I mean? It's just that there are some people who just have incredible resources, and this is their life.
And and that gets to the issue that for years why schools have pushed back on this is because they feared once the players get paid, that money that was going to the school is going to the players now.
To which I say,
which is
finally,
fine because there's a cap on how much you should do facility wise. And you make fun of like the golf course, the putt course at Clemson or the waterfalls. You don't need that, but they were getting this money and they have to do something with it. So if there's I don't know what's the number, if there's a 50% scale back in money being raised for facilities and that goes to the players, that's great. But it's just the school can't control it. But then you get the whole other thing about funding other sports, the Olympic sports and all that, which it's an issue. Those sports, talk to administrators. That's the biggest drain on departments is funding the Olympic sports.
Also, by the way, that's why they're tax exempt, because they have those sports. There's a minimum requirement for offering those sports, which allows them to maintain nonprofit status. I mean, it's all interconnected, and that's an important thing to preserve. I can talk about this all day. I know we have to go to a break. One thing I want to bring up in the locker room thing, because I hear what you're saying. On the locker room, guys are going to be, this guy's making this much and I'm better than that guy. First of all, I mean, there have been guys who people know in the locker room are getting paid by X booster or whatever, or
driving a car that they didn't show up 3 years ago to campus.
So like there's already been some dynamic there. I will say though that what is different is that this becomes public knowledge. So now they know that the media knows this guy got $8 million or whatever, or the fans know. So it's so I think because it's more publicly discussed, I do think that's probably something that I underrated going in.
And the pressure on the coaches to
play a guy. You're not going to play the guy who got. I paid this much money. We got this guy, and you're not paying him.
Right?
What are you doing, coach? But also,
is that your collective voice? Yeah, the head of collective voice.
But also, again, I'm going to also go again to boosters, meddling. I mean, there's a lot of things that like we've had in college football. Right?
Yeah, it's just more out in the open now.
Just on steroids.
Yeah,
but not literally steroids.
No,
although maybe
those aren't allowed.
That's right.
Unlike the other stuff, which is now allowed.
That's right. We've got Mitch Light in studio for the rest of the 8 o'clock hour, talking all things college football. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get into the outlook for Tennessee and Vanderbilt coming up later this hour as well. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If you're on the road between downtown Nashville,
they're still in good shape to make the playoffs,
and I-840.
Players make it clear they don't want to be somewhere anymore.
There's a new way to hear all your favorite shows and sports programming on 102.5 The Game.
I go back to that play and I shake my head. What I was worried about is that they were still just going to keep the goal.
It's 106.3 FM.
Think about all the good Titans teams.
This is very much so a run-first offense.
Now you have two choices to hear Nashville's best sports talk. Check out 106.3 now and add it as a favorite.
Don't miss Nashville SC versus Real Salt Lake on Sunday, May 8th at 4 p.m. Single match tickets are on sale now at NashvilleSC.com/singletix. That's NashvilleSC.com/singletix.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy any car. Any make, any model, any age, any price from $50 to $100,000. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any. We buy
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired a lounge singer to be their office receptionist.
Hello, this is Mickey Marquis, and you've reached the office of Doug & Associates. Thank you very much. Catch me Tuesday nights at the Hotel Johnson. Hello?
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Doug & Associates, this is Mickey Marquis. Hello?
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
And now it's Geico's Motorcycle Rules of the Road. Avoid biking in the rain and never touch another person's bike.
Hey guys, look at these bikes. So shiny. Whoops. I'm gonna leave a note. Oh gosh, there's more.
And the rule to saving on motorcycle insurance is, in 15 minutes, Geico could save you 15% or more.
Summer heat is on the way. Is your air conditioner ready? Costs are rising everywhere. Groceries, gas, utilities, you name it. Is your AC old, inefficient, and costing more than it should? Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Qualified buyers have up to 72 months no interest for a new York air conditioner and 6 months no interest for repairs. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, a York certified comfort expert company. Schedule now at springhillac.com.
Nothing feels more like summer than bare feet on freshly cut grass. And this Memorial Day, the Home Depot has savings on all the things you need to get your lawn in shoeless shape. Get hassle-free cutting, trimming, and cleaning power with cordless lawn tools from Ryobi. Whatever your lawn needs, we have tools to get the job done that won't leave you tangled up. So what are you waiting for? It's time to feel the grass between your toes. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
With prices soaring at the pump, filling up can be stressful. That's why Discover has your back with cashback. Use Discover to earn 5% cash back at gas stations and Target, now through June, on up to $1,500 in purchases when you activate. We know every dollar matters right now, but you can count on us. Get up to $75 cash back this quarter with your Discover It card. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/rewards.
Friday night. Luka with a step back. Got it. It's game 2 in the Western Conference Final between Dallas and Golden State.
Curry inside, what a pass!
Coverage begins at 7:30
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
NCAA, you got a little problem. Let me explain. See, with the NILs, which really ain't NIL because there ain't no name, image, and likeness, it's just pay-per-view right now. That's what they doing to the big boys. Little boys, we can't compete with that. But anyway, you got a problem. See, when you start paying athletes like they're professionals, you get athletes acting like they're professionals. And you don't have staffs large enough and equipped enough to handle a young man with money. Let me go deeper. Handle a young man that's making more money than some of the coaches on staff. You got a real problem. So I suggest to you to allow college teams to hire more qualified men, qualified, that could handle these young men that's getting this money.
That was Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, apparently speaking from Niagara Falls somewhere.
Or in the shower.
Was that like Clemson's locker room with waterfalls?
Could have been.
Alabama's the one with the waterfalls.
Oh, shoot.
Get it right.
Clemson has
the putting
the
green.
mini golf.
Dang it.
Come on, Joe.
Fire me.
Who's got the chocolate fountain? That's what I want to know. Go find one of those. Lazy River.
Actually,
Willy Wonka.
There is.
Is there?
But there is a Lazy River, right?
I thought, yeah.
Yeah, that might be Clemson as well.
Is that right? Okay.
It's not Jackson State.
See, Dabo I just want to keep, I don't want the players getting money. I just want to keep building in ridiculous buildings.
But that's interesting what Deion said there, because at Jackson State, they don't have the money.
Yep.
I would argue that at most P5 schools, their staffs are big enough. Now, is there someone whose job is to work with young Joe Rexrode about his money? Maybe there is now, but the support staffs keep getting bigger and bigger at all these schools. So I would don't tell him I said this. I would disagree with Coach Prime that there are the resources, again, at the P5 schools to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, look, that should have been. I mean, you talk about things that are important for support, and like Vanderbilt it's pretty extensive, right? What they do. I mean, that should already be. That should be one of the top priorities. Is like life skills, right? Also, I mean, there's just think about like academically. Although I know A&M has fantastic programs, but just like how many players are, talked out of certain majors because it messes with the football, right? Look, they're part of a big machine. They're very important. They are cogs in the machine. This is, again, why I say if they get money coming in, great. Every dollar they can get. Why does it matter if do you think that there's for the $8 million quarterback, who knows who it may be, Do you think that on that particular whatever staff that may be, in whatever city it may be, do you think that like there's coaches there right now who are ticked off because this incoming quarterback makes more than them? Do you think they're mad, or do you think they're like, oh, good, he's coming, and now maybe we can win next year?
And maybe I'll get a better job, or I'll get a promotion. There's one thing. There's not every member of a staff are created equally. Obviously, you have all college position coaches at P5 schools make a lot of money, but you've got some. Not just grad assistant, you have some ops guys and some quality control people. I don't know what they make, $37,000, and they're like haven't seen the sun except at practice for like 7 months.
Exactly,
That's the one thing that and this is sort of a different topic, and I'm not defending Dabo at all, but the coaches who are making the money now, the older guys, at least 40, 50, 60, they got it. Truly, they got into it because they love coaching. They're making a ton of money now, but when they started, when Nick Saban was at, he was at Toledo, what do you think he was making in the 90s? $125,000.
Yeah.
So
which is still
it's still good money.
But
the point is these guys have grinded, and a lot of them have been quality control, and they've worked their way up. Now there might be a lot of people. Young former football players now getting into coaching because of the money, and maybe we'll see what the landscape looks like in 20 years. So that's one thing that, when people compare the now Ryan Day making that money and all these coaches compared to what the players are not getting, I will say that these guys are the top of their profession in the entire world, and they've paid their dues. Do you agree with that?
I do, but again, with the whole paid your dues thing, so why don't we get mad when Tiger Woods is a prodigy at a young age and makes millions, or the gymnast who makes millions at a young age? I mean, if you have that to offer, whatever age you are, whatever situation, it's a free market.
Right, and that's good. With Suni Lee, the gymnast at Auburn now, she would not be at Auburn 5 years or 3 years ago.
Right.
And now she is, and I've seen Auburn gymnastic highlights on, TV because of her, and it's better for Auburn. It's better for the sport.
There you go.
Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in David from Nashville, who wants to weigh in. David, thanks for calling in to Robby and Rexrode.
Yeah, first of all, steroids, there's nothing wrong with them.
Okay.
You guys, hear me out. I'm going to baseball games to see home runs. But on the flip side, you give me $1 million, I can double my bench press and squat by Christmas. So I look at it both sides. I sometimes think they're good, sometimes just do it naturally. Okay, but back to the name, image, and likeness. Turn the kids loose, let them make as much money as they can. If somebody wants to pay them $1 million and their business only makes $10 million, that's on them to make poor business decisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key point.
Agree.
Name, image, and likeness.
Wait, what do you agree with?
The second part. I didn't really catch the first part.
I'm just checking.
I didn't know where we were going for a second.
90% of the people who are, whether it's to a collective or a business, who are doing this, they're not necessarily doing it, I don't know what the number is, 90%, 75%, to enhance their business. They're doing it because they're a booster, and it's legal now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, if we talked off the air, if someone wanted to pay Enrique Bradfield, Vanderbilt baseball player, to promote their car dealership, I mean, are they getting their money's worth? I don't know. They're probably just a Vanderbilt baseball fan who wants to help a kid playing baseball. So that's the thing about my retort when they say, well, these aren't good business decisions because you're pouring X amount of money into your promoting your business. Well, that's not really the end game here. It's helping the university that you want to support.
Yep. Now maybe PALS has just blown up thanks to Fulkerson,
maybe,
or whatever. Right, PALS, is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah. I imagine there could be some enhancement there, but yeah, that's not the primary point with most of them. It's amazing to me, and this goes way back, just how many people there are who have so much money that they can do these things, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, man,
yes, there's
for y'all,
bad for us, good for y'all.
That's right. I'm still trying to figure out where David was going with the first part of that call, but that's okay.
Yeah, what was that?
The steroids?
Roids, you know,
I'll
maybe
just
good, maybe
whatever.
bad.
I don't know enough about steroids to
watching Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa was fun. I'll give him that.
Hey, worked out. Hit a lot of bombs.
Yeah. There is an upside to steroids.
Yeah.
Mitch, we'll get a little bit more to this coming up in the next segment, but real quickly, looking at this Tennessee team, what do you like about this group coming back this year? We were talking about this yesterday on the show. I mean, I think there's a chance that they could get a lot of people picking them second in the East this year behind Georgia. Now, Kentucky's going to be good. We'll see what happens on that front, and Florida with the new coaching changes they have coming in. What do you make of the group that Josh Heupel has coming back and the job that he's done thus far?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking when I was driving over here, if this were like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, this was like right in the heart of production on our Athlon magazines in my previous life, I would be able to, give you the too deep for like, you want to talk Troy football? Let's go, buddy. So I'm not as knee-deep as I used to be, but obviously I know the SEC teams. And I mean, I thought Josh Heupel, I like a lot of people weren't overwhelmed by the hire. You looked at his UCF trajectory, and it wasn't great. Completely wrong. They were a fun team to watch, and that's what you want, especially coming off Jeremy Pruitt era.
Yes.
You want a fun team to watch, and they were a fun team. And I'm a big believer in not all 8-4 records or not all 7-6 records are created equally, and I think that's something that Tennessee can point to. I mean, I'm looking at their the Pitt game could have gone either way. Obviously, the Purdue game could have gone either way. The Alabama game ended up being a lopsided, but they were right there, I think, into the third quarter.
Yep.
And so this was a consistently competitive team, which bodes well. Obviously, Hooker coming back, and I know there are obviously some departures at the skill positions, but they know how to use skill players, and they've recruited well at those positions. Concerns on the defensive line, like a lot of teams, but second place is there for the taking. Florida might be, correct me if I'm wrong, Florida was maybe the one game where they were wire to wire, sort of outclassed. I don't know what word you want to say, but
Georgia.
Florida was worse. They hung
Georgia
around with Georgia
game?
for a while.
Yeah, they hung around a little bit. I believe. So, Florida, I'm not sold on their quarterback is Anthony Richardson, the guy there. I like what Billy Napier, I think he's a good coach. I think he will do well there, but they don't exactly scare you with their offensive personnel right now. So, Kentucky, there's going to be a lot of Kentucky momentum in the predictions, but I think second's there for the taking.
And by the way, you do agree that Tennessee got completely screwed in the Purdue game by the officials, and that officiating needs to be looked at closely, right? I want to make sure.
I don't blame the
remember
officiating,
that, right?
Joe.
Okay.
I'm not like you. I don't just blame the refs.
We'll continue to take your thoughts on college football. Think 615-737-1025. Continue to look ahead at Tennessee and their season coming up. We'll get to Vanderbilt and Clark Lee in year 2 as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
Is brought to you by the Nashville Super Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $1,100 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
2 locations to serve you, Columbia Kubota or Franklin Kubota. Visit them online at ColumbiaKubota.com or FranklinKubota.com.
There are jewelry stores, and then there's Genesis Diamonds, the cutting-edge industry leader, the pioneer. It's no secret that jewelry stores across America watch what Genesis is doing. Genesis was the first to offer a free lifetime warranty, the first to offer a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, the first to offer aggressive long-term zero-interest financing. And Genesis is always on the cutting edge in design and fashion. The styles other jewelers say are new and exciting were new and exciting for us 4 years ago. Genesis has the fashion-forward brands other stores aren't even allowed to carry. It's no wonder you see jewelers from other cities coming to Genesis to see what we're all about, and even buy their wives' jewelry from us. For selection, quality, service, warranties, and guarantees, Genesis leads. Others follow. So for diamonds, engagement rings, exclusive designer jewelry for any occasion, don't compromise. Come to the jeweler that sets the industry standards year after year. Genesis Diamonds and pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, Nashville, it's Chase McCabe, Program Director of ESPN 102.5 The Game, and there's a new way that you can hear Nashville's best sports talk. It's on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24, you now have two choices to hear our great sports talk programming. And, of course, the Nashville Predators. Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Nothing feels more like summer than bare feet on freshly cut grass. And this Memorial Day, the Home Depot has savings on all the things you need to get your lawn in shoeless shape. Get hassle-free cutting, trimming, and cleaning power with cordless lawn tools from Robby. Whatever your lawn needs, we have tools to get the job done that won't leave you tangled up. So what are you waiting for? It's time to feel the grass between your toes. Feels like Memorial Day at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
So, what is Jared Stillman gonna say this afternoon?
You got to play if you want to earn $14.6 million next year.
Oh, brother, here we go.
But I'm done on investing money in dudes that can't get on the field.
Tune in to Stillman and Company, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6.
This is some serious stuff right here.
Delivered by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Robby and Rexrode is on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I got some tickets to give away to see the Sounds take on the Louisville Bats coming up on Sunday at First Horizon Park. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a 4-pack of tickets coming up to see the Sounds and the Bats on Sunday at First Horizon Park, 615-737-1025. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Mitch Light, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee, discussing all things college football. Nate on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, hey, Mitch, with the way NIL busted out with no regulations, you said you could see it be regulated in the next 2 or 3 years. How would they do that after a few years of no regulation? This is coming from Nate on the text line.
Good question, Nate.
As I said before, I have no idea. That's the big question. Like I said, there seems to be more momentum from a college football only, the Power Five peeling off and forming their own alliance, whatever you want to call it, and then that's easier to govern. It's a smaller group. You can start from scratch, so to speak. Like the problem now is like with so many things in life and all facets of life, it's like if you were starting college football from now, there were so many things you would change, but it's just evolved over the last 80, 100 years, and it's just so crazy. There's so many things, we love it, but it's just such part of the reason we love it. It's just such a crazy sport. So I don't have the answer to that question, but it's definitely being talked about in athletic departments and conference offices and stuff. So, we'll just have to see how this thing unfolds.
Yeah, I don't know what they can really do. I mean, they can do things that will then push the market back underground.
Well, they're not going to scale back. They're not going to end NIL. Just decide.
No. But if there's some sort of guardrails. So is that a number? Are we talking about actual numbers?
Legally, there's no way you can do that.
I wouldn't think so. Right. Well, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the Supreme Court has.
I was about to say, with the Supreme Court case, what are they going to do?
But look what they're. Look what they're talking about last week. I mean, it's like is this just a Hail Mary? Because from what we understand legally, and I'm no legal expert, but I did hear what the Supreme Court unified on something which never happens, said, doesn't that mean you can't do it?
Yeah,
but they're trying to do something.
Then I was thinking to myself, as you were talking, maybe there's just a market correction, and people realize this isn't the wisest way to spend money. But then if you've got 60 schools and 59 think that's 59 collectives or whatever think that's not the wisest way, well, you still have 6 that do, or you have 1 that does, and now Nick Saban gets pissed. You know.
And now they get all the players. I mean, I just. I think one thing that would help all of the craziness and like you said, it is tough for coaches now. I think NIL deals can help in a way, because if you do essentially lock a player into a place, at least, right? I mean, it's sort of like you're going to get this if you stay, and that's what some of them have been written that way.
Yeah, and so some people think that's going to help curb the transfer issue.
Yes, which is at least something. Because I do think that there's fans who are like, I wanted the amateurism. Like, okay, you're just delusional. But I get the idea of I don't like that. There's different players every year, and now my favorite player is playing for our rival. Like, I get why from the fan experience
and Jordan
perspective.
Addison at Pitt. That's like that's like everyone's fear. You've got the best wide receiver in the country who basically is on the open market to transfer.
So from a fan experience and good for the game perspective, I do feel like at least less movement would. And frankly, I do agree with these coaches who are like, okay, so every time you just get demoted on the depth chart, we had Fulmer and say, every time something bad goes, okay, bye. I mean, if that's how you're going to live your life, it's really not the way you want to do it. You should have the freedom, but I do think there's a lot of bad decisions being made, and probably way more bad than good.
So, Mitch, one thing that we've talked about for a long time when it comes to Tennessee is, can they find that elite quarterback again in recruiting? And look, Hendon Hooker played great last year, and there's going to be high expectations on him, but there's a Nico mania taking Knoxville by storm right now. I think it's probably fair to say at this point he is going to be the most highly anticipated recruit since Peyton Manning walked through the door there in Knoxville. What do you think of that commitment for Tennessee, and what do you think of the idea of a true 5-star quarterback and what a guy like him can do, not only on the field but in terms of recruiting for Heupel in Tennessee as well?
Well, yeah, it's a program that has recruited the quarterback position well in 10 years, but not to this level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I looked this up recently, a lot of top 100 guys, a lot of high 4-stars, because not all 4-stars are created equal. You can have a kid who's 50th in the country and 325. Those are both 4-stars. From what I know about Nico, I mean, evaluators rave about him, but the personality, the Pied Piper, he's what showed up to that in Knoxville wearing Tennessee pajama pants, basically, that Joe's wearing right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Don't tell the Vandy fans.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, though, on him, and there's pressure on the coaching staff. The minute he walks through that door, and they're like, Tennessee fans can be a little overzealous, overbearing. I don't know what the word is, but
passionate.
Yeah, all that stuff. We all know that's what makes it a great program. That's what has held it back at times. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Nico to perform, but it's no doubt, if you're a top-level quarterback and you're looking for a place to play, Tennessee right now has proven with what Josh Heupel did with that offense last year, a good place to go, and they know how to utilize their skill position players. So, and will it help recruiting? Of course, it will help recruiting. And if he plays as a freshman and does well, that will it gets the ball rolling. But Tennessee's a program, and it's funny on our podcast. Real quick tangent. Ari's maybe 32 and doesn't understand anything that happened before he was 17. So
except that filet of fish was a classic
exactly.
Sandwich.
So I've lived here. Went to school here in the early 90s, lived here most of the time since then. I was around when Tennessee won a national championship. I've seen Tennessee be really good. Ari just says, oh, they stink, so they're never going to recruit at that level. I was like, no, Ari, just look at history. And you say there's no reason Texas A&M can't bring elite players. There's no reason Tennessee can't bring elite players. You know what? They've done it in the past, and they appear to be doing it now.
Before we have to ask Vandy Mitch about Vandy.
And Vandy Joe.
You hate Vandy, by the way, don't you?
I do.
As a Vanderbilt alum, you hate Vandy. As
the word, yes, the word.
Yes.
I never say it. I won't. I don't know what you're talking about.
I say it a lot.
I know.
It's
edited it out.
We're
we're not a newspaper where we're limited in
there's
back in the day. I get it. Back in the day. So.
But before I do want to ask you about them. But first, I want to throw a hot take. I want you guys to take note of this.
Okay.
Tennessee football, 2023. Starting quarterback, Joe Milton. Absolutely. Joe Milton is the Tennessee starting
You
quarterback.
can't quit Joe Milton, can you?
No, he can't.
I've had a conversation this week about Joe Milton that was almost mind-blowing. It was so interesting. I'm telling you.
Are they increasing the size of the football field to 140 yards?
Yeah.
Then maybe he's a little more effective.
They could be playing on an aircraft carrier. Like, what's going on?
That's fine. You guys, hey, get all your jokes in now. Get them all in now.
Okay, how about this?
All right.
Over under games he starts in 2023 then.
What would be the appropriate over-under, or
Yeah.
what would my over-under be?
Well, yours would be like 15 because you're winning the national championship.
Yeah, winning the natty.
I'll say,
I'll take the under.
Nico transfers to Alabama.
Yeah.
It'll be a great time for Tennessee fans.
6.5. He's going to be a true freshman. I know, but this is
true freshmen never play anymore.
Will Milton be a 6-year
they
senior?
do. Yeah, he'll be a 6-year senior.
Okay.
I'm just saying, but true freshmen sometimes they do have to wait a little bit too. They're not snapping the fingers ready. Vanderbilt, what's your feeling on Clarkley and that program heading into year 2?
I think you just want to see progress. Like I said before, not all records are created equally, and they were for the most part uncompetitive last year, but they showed progress. They clearly were better offensively down the stretch, and that kind of brings a quarterback dilemma. Mike Wright, the offense moved better with Mike Wright. Was that because they got better and they started understanding things better and the offensive line was better? And if Ken Seals hadn't gotten hurt, would they have been able to move the ball like they did a little bit better? I like what they're doing in recruiting. It's for not just because they had a number 32 class, but you talk to people like, I think Barton Simmons is doing a good job kind of finding the right type of athlete that they want there. So I just think if you're a Vanderbilt fan, you just want to see progress in year 2. You don't want to. The thing that was alarming last year, and I have a Michigan buddy who was asking me, about
Jesse Minter?
Yeah, about Jesse Minter. I was like, it seems like he's a good coach, but you watched Vanderbilt last year. The first drives of games, teams went through them like Colorado State looked like Tennessee, and and
coaching adjustments.
Yeah, well, then how about pregame prep?
You
can look at it both. You can look at it both ways. So, I'm not an X's and O's guys, but I was alarmed sometimes watching how easily teams. Like the South Carolina game, I think South Carolina went up and down the field twice, and then I think they shut them out until the very end, and then they went up and down the field. So, I think you want to see some stability in the coaching staff. Each one of the guys who left, you could say, left for a better opportunity. But you still need some stability. They had 5 position coaches turnover. So, again, it's just progress. I'm not going to sit here and say they need to go 6-6 and go to a bowl game. At a certain point in year 3 or 4, you need to start seeing more wins. But I think you just need to see some progress.
And some young players from this class maybe helping because there's probably some opportunity there.
No
Mitch,
doubt.
Before we let you go, our friend Heidi from Dixon on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Mitch should rate Joe from 1 to 10 at his job. I'm very curious.
Oh, boy.
Ooh, wow. Well, we do have official reviews, right?
Yeah, we do. You can share. Well, don't share the parts where you swore. And I was kind of surprised you wrote out the F-bomb in some of those.
Really.
Although we can do that at
this
the
Rexrode
guy. Exactly. A scale of 1 to 10, Joe, I'll give him a 9.2.
Wow. Oh, man.
I don't know if that's what Heidi was looking for.
Okay, Heidi, 3. How about that? There we go.
Do you like pedicures?
I do not.
Okay. Have you ever had one?
That's not what Heidi's looking for either.
Okay, well, Mitch is on the pedicure train with Heidi then.
He could be.
I'm not on any pedicure train.
I had one. It was really unsettling.
Okay.
Mitch Light from The Athletic has been our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Mitch, great stuff as always. Appreciate you coming in. We'll have to do this again soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
we'll come back. We'll take your thoughts. 615-737-1025. John Hines apparently has a new contract extension, according to Adam Vingett of The Athletic. We'll take your reaction to that next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The voice of reason.
Now, you may say, well, a quarterback is more important than a running back. That's fine. You can say whatever you want.
The voice of the fan.
Even if we have to develop him while he's playing, I just want a boring first-round pick.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A big series with the Bayou Bengals. This is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. An important 3 days ahead for Vanderbilt baseball as the number 21 Commodores close out the regular season against LSU. The teams are tied at 14-13 in SEC play with seeding for next week's conference tournament and the possibility of hosting an NCAA regional all in play. Vandy has won 4 of its last 5 weekend series, with 3 of those on the road. Coach Tim Corbin says he likes the way this group has competed after a tough stretch.
There's a lot of things that happen within the year that will always test a team, but I think with this group right here, they've remained so consistent with one another, and that consistency in training, and that's a big deal.
From this week's edition of Commodore Hour, which you can find on the Anchor podcast page on Apple and Spotify, Vanderbilt is 35-16 overall with an RPI in the top 5 after Tuesday's 7-2 win over Middle Tennessee. LSU also scored a midweek win after they were swept at home by Ole Miss last weekend. First pitch tonight, 7 o'clock on the Vanderbilt Sports Network and also on ESPN2. On the doorstep, after 2 excellent days in the Palm Beach Gardens Regional, Vanderbilt men's golf has its sights set on a spot in the NCAA championships. Find all the final results at VUCommodores.com. And roster additions for women's basketball grad transfers Kaija Harbison and Marnell Girard. Harbison scored 1,600 points during her time at St. Louis, while Girard was a standout guard at Boston College. That is the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Gary Ashton here. I love hearing people say, don't sell without the intel, because it means they're really embracing our message. Now's a great time to sell your home in Nashville, but you need the intel only the Gary Ashton team can provide. Intel that helps you sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel to win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Let everyone else get the same information and compete for the same properties, while you get the intel edge with the Gary Ashton team, the official real estate team for your Tennessee Titans. And if you're looking for a great career, join our team. We added 65 new agents last year, and we want you to join us this year. Remember, don't sell without the intel. And if you're looking for a great career, the Gary Ashton team wants you in 2022. Call 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com today.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, with Stillman and Company.
Surprise, surprise! I write down what was good, what was bad.
Afternoons from 2 to 6.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Final hour of Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode and Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Thanks to Mitch Light for joining us last hour. Really interesting discussion on college football, NIL, and be fascinating to see how that unfolds. I'm looking forward. I'm really hoping somebody gets a microphone in front of Jimbo Fisher today. I need that to happen. Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I mean, Destin's going to be wild, right?
Yeah.
But it'll actually
like
probably be
match.
a huge disappointment. And they'll both say, oh, no, I have total respect for Coach. You know. But we can dream.
Clown act.
Clown acts.
Lane Kiffin has tweeted.
Got this guy sliced bread out here. Mitch
Lane
was
Kiffin.
awesome. That was a great hour.
It was. Lane Kiffin has tweeted, lay off the GOAT at Deion Sanders, and attaches an article from ESPN of Saban's comments on Texas A&M. I love Lane Kiffin on Twitter.
Okay, whoa. Okay, now. It says, lay off the GOAT at Deion Sanders. Is he saying lay off the GOAT, comma, Deion Sanders? Or is he saying lay off the GOAT, Deion Sanders,
saying that it
Nick
is Deion
Saban?
Sanders. Well, maybe.
But he could be saying that to Deion, saying lay off the GOAT, Nick Saban.
Could be.
Which is it?
I don't know. About to get Lane on the show. Figure it out.
All right, I need to quote tweet him. This is stupid.
I'm gonna DM him.
Be clear with your stupid tweet, man.
Yeah. Heidi from Dixon on the text line says 9.2 rating is fair, room to grow, and worth keeping around for Rexrode. Good to know Heidi still wants you here on the program.
Chris, then I made an age joke at Mitch's expense as he went out, so
Yes.
it just dropped to a 6'4". So you saw Mitch speaking at a student thing.
Yeah, when I
Buster
came
Olney.
here in 2018.
How was he?
He was great. He spoke. Teresa Walker spoke. Kayla Anderson spoke.
Wow.
And now I'm working here, and I'm like,
Got two of those on the show today.
deja vu.
Right.
That's right.
How about that?
I was a junior in college.
That's right. Joe, a report yesterday from Adam Vingan, friend of the show and your colleague at The Athletic, that the Predators have signed John Hines to a new multi-year contract. So there was an option that they could have picked up, a one-year team option for John Hines. Adam reporting that the Predators have signed Hines to a new multi-year contract. We'll be hearing from David Poile and John Hines in about 2 hours from now, coming up at 11 o'clock at Bridgestone Arena. What's your reaction to that report from Adam that the Predators did not pick up the one-year option but gave him a multi-year contract extension?
Well, the term is important. Again, first of all, just in general, my reaction is not, oh, my God. It's, okay, that's a little bit surprising. Yeah, I figure picking up the option makes sense, see what happens. I think it's a commentary. Look, to me, it matches up with what I've heard from people who I trust, who don't have a reason to lie about what they think of John Hines as a coach, what I've seen from John Hines as a coach, what I think, just what the job I think he's done. But I think all of that still can easily add up to just picking up the option and seeing how things go. Again, I can't, this is a broken record, but I don't think John Hines is to blame for where they are. He came into a tough situation with a fading team that desperately needed a culture change.
Thank you.
Work environment change. Let's get back to that. Remember, didn't I say at one point we're just going to change culture to work environment? Isn't that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so it badly needed a work environment change, and he's created that. And so, the fact that he hasn't won big, who's coming here? You tell me. Are there coaches I think better than John Hines? There are certainly coaches who are more proven than him, no question.
There are better coaches than John Hines, yes.
Okay, so take the best one of those. Who do you think is the best coach in the NHL?
I'd put my vote for John Cooper right now.
Okay. Let's take former Lansing Catholic high school coach John Cooper, by the way, Lansing, Michigan. Shout out. Take John Cooper and put him in the exact same situation, taking over for Peter Laviolette, and now let's fast forward to here. How different are the results for the Nashville Predators with the exact same personnel?
I don't think a ton different. I mean, look, the bottom line in this league, a lot of it comes down to who's on the ice for you.
It's not just this league.
It's every sport. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think this is a fundamental, let's go back to the choice is yours with Michelle yesterday, okay, with the most overrated coach. And again, let's go back to Bill Belichick, 39-55. Phil Jackson. I mean, look, coaching's hugely important. Of course it is. That's why they get paid a lot too. But, I mean, you can have all the schemes and whatever sport you want and all the motivational tactics you want. If you don't have the talent, you aren't crap as a coach. I mean, there is a much more important element to this. And again, that's why when you look at the Predators, I separate the two. I've been pretty impressed with John Hines. I've not been very impressed with David Poile.
I do not like giving him a contract extension. I don't. And I think John Hines has done a good job. We've talked about that so much here on the show. I think he's done a good job. I think he's a good coach. I don't like giving contract extensions when you don't have to. I mean, you're not leaving yourself much flexibility here. I mean, what happens if next year you come out and let's say you do have Forsberg back, so it's the same team, maybe you make an addition or two in the offseason via free agency, and things go off the rails next year and you're not good. Well, what do you do at that point? You're just going to keep hanging around with John Hines as the coach now that you've signed him to a multi-year deal? Like, to me, pick up the option, see how next year goes, and let's say you get halfway through next year and things are going well, sign him to a multi-year extension then. Like, I don't like when you have a team option not picking that up and just going straight to a multi-year extension. That's me. I think John Hines has done a good job, but I think you're not leaving yourself a ton of flexibility here if you're the Predators.
So what if that same scenario plays out and they fire David Poile or they keep John Hines?
Well, then you got a new general manager coming in at that point, and is he gonna want to keep the coach around? Now, a lot of that comes down to ownership because I have no clue how long the deal is for John Hines. By the way, Jared's put out on Twitter, he's hearing it's not 6 years, so there's that.
And, I think that, by the way, let's give credit to the dark web Preds guy. At Angry Preds fan, apparently.
Yes.
Started the 6-year thing. I think let's all remember at Angry Preds fan. I don't think he's going to be accurate on this.
Okay.
So Angry Preds fan, hey, you're just a guy on Twitter. You do have 1,400 followers. Don't just throw crap like that out there.
But regardless, let's say it's a 3-year deal. Let's say things come in and they go poorly next year, and Poyle's gone, and you bring in a new general manager. You think ownership's given the green light to be like, yeah, just go ahead and fire him. We'll pay the buyout. I mean, they might. I don't know. But that's again, to me, a situation where you're not leaving yourself a ton of flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, multi-year. So if it's 2 years. If it's 2 years, just so he doesn't feel like Trotz felt that year. Like, coaches don't like that, right? They don't like. Again, it's not like in college sports, you need to have 4 years left on your deal at all times. It's just a totally different thing. But just as a professional, feeling good about where you are, in your standing, and some security, to have that extra year after next season, it's fine. I mean, you can still fire someone in that situation, whatever the buyout may be. It's not a huge deal. So if multi-year means that, okay. I think anything more than that, yeah, I don't think there's any need for that.
And you bring up, I mean, the Trot situation.
It's a very different situation.
He was a lame duck coach heading into last year of a deal, and Washington wasn't picking it up. And all of a sudden, they're planning on letting him go, and he makes a run to the Stanley Cup final and wins.
And
then they were begging to come back.
Every fountain, and
Ovechkin was swimming around like a fish in the fountains of D.C. out there. And they tried to bring him back, and they kind of lowballed him. And then he said, you know what? We'll see you guys later. I'm going to coach the Islanders. And it's not worked out very well for the Washington Capitals since then, by the way. Now, that's what happened with Trotz. Could that happen with Hines? Not necessarily in terms of winning the cup, but could you leave him on a contract where it's a prove-it year for him? He does a good job. Maybe they win around in the playoffs, and he says, you know what? I'd like to go somewhere else, and leaves you high and dry. Maybe, but is that likely? I don't think so. Like, are people breaking down the door next offseason to go get John Hines? Anything short of like a run to the Western Conference Final or Stanley Cup? Probably not. So you'd probably been in fine shape if you just picked up the option.
I agree. I think Hines has helped himself in actual hockey circles with what he's done here. Like, I think he's established himself a bit more in the league, and people can actually look at this team, see what the team is, and then understand that the coach wasn't supposed to come in and go nuts and win a bunch of cups. But for him to be a coveted, someone who's actually pursued, yeah, I mean, until you actually demonstrate that success in the postseason, then that's when you earn that. So it's not like there's some big concern about anybody else coming after him or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, look, picking up the option seems like it would have been the more sensible way. An extra year tacking on top of that, fine. Anything beyond that, not quite understanding.
We'll take your reaction to John Hines and a multi-year contract extension with the Nashville Predators. 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. ESPN 1025 The Game is Nashville's official home of NASCAR. Tune in this Sunday at 4 o'clock for the NASCAR All-Star Race at the Texas Motor Speedway. Also get set for the race with Chasing Checkers with Chase McCabe every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock on 1025 The Game. NASCAR on 1025 The Game, presented by Nashville Super Speedway and Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 1025, 1063 The Game.
Join Chase McCabe for Chasing Checkers every Sunday morning at 8 for all the news in the world of motorsports.
Joey Logano gets the very first victory in the next-gen car
while hearing from the big names.
Two-time champion Kyle Busch.
Being able to bring NASCAR, the Cup Series, back to Nashville is cool.
It's Chasing Checkers, presented by Ample Collision Centers and the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
On ESPN
1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Listen up, people. Your first bet with Caesar Sportsbook is risk-free, up to $1,100. Download the app and use promo code RADIOCZR and then place your first bet. If you win, congrats. But if not, you'll get your wager back as a free bet. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New users only. Bet amount of qualifying wager returned only if wager is settled as a loss. Paid as a single bet credit. Must be used within 14 days. See Caesar.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. Download it.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer, so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy high, rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, new bathroom, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it and got $200,000 out. They added new hardwoods, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover and do it now. You can even skip your next house payment in the process. Call now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
The city famous for its music is about to be overwhelmed by the Symphony of Speed. June 24th through 26th, Nashville Superspeedway will host an exciting weekend of NASCAR racing and entertainment featuring the Ally 400 Cup Series race, the Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200. Tickets are going fast, so visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com or call 866-RACE-TIX and brace yourself for some full-throttle fun.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Robby and Rexrode on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee.
We have so much stuff going on, but let me jump on this tweet that's just top of my timeline on Twitter from Mike Golick Jr., friend of the show. Quote, after hearing from at Dan Murphy, ESPN, I'm now convinced this is all a sleight of hand as Saban rallies the troops. It's like when Belichick downplays analytics publicly while also employing the godfather of NFL data analysis. We already said that on this show. This is totally Saban saying,
Mike.
Guys, we do it the right way, and, this is not what I want. I want, this is not the way to do it, but if we're going to have to do it, I guess we're going to have to do it. And now, when you buy a Tennessee lottery ticket or an Alabama lottery ticket, you will donate to the High Tide Collective. What's it called? Rolling Tide? What's it called?
I thought it was High Tide. I'll have to go look and make sure that's what it is. But I think that's what it is.
Prince of Tides? Yeah. So no, of course that's what it is, Mike Golick Jr. There's no question. Saban is he wants to be on the record again. They've been doing it the right way. They haven't paid for any players. And now they must pay for players. And they will do that, and they will continue to crush you.
Let's go to the text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Andrew texting in says, the Preds are dying to stay mediocre. Great job, team. Rob in Clarksville saying, if you get rid of Poyle and keep Hines, the one-year option would have been a great scenario. But Poyle's going to Poyle. The first time in years, I'm not excited for the next season. It's coming from Rob from Clarksville on the text line. Been an interesting reaction today.
Yeah,
on the John Hines stuff.
Well, and so let's check the poll. Apparently, Jared must have tweeted about my poll results. Yeah, okay. So whenever something suits him, he's like, yeah, see? Like the fans, they're always right. But apparently the fans are, 60-40 against, 60-40 disapproval of John Hines. So again, that's Twitter. So so now that you see those results, and what's the number? How many people have voted? I can't find my own Twitter poll. That's how incompetent I am with technology. Okay, we've got 366 votes. Now,
Okay.
I put it up there for a day, so now maybe people could be influenced by what does or doesn't happen at the presser.
Yeah.
But right now it's 61.7% disapprove of the job he's done and 38.3% approve. Now, Michelle put up another poll, which was, how do you feel about the potential contract extension? Love it or hate it. 80% hate it, 19%. But I wouldn't expect just understand, don't take this the wrong way, because I used to rip Ryan Porth's polls all the time. But like
he did. It was unbelievable.
But
every time Porth put up a poll question, just eviscerated by Rexrode.
So the phrasing there, though, is like, I wouldn't expect a ton of people to love it. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, you need, I think most people are in middle.
Do you expect
middle
most people to hate it? 80%'s a lot.
If that's your choice. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if you have to pick one or the other, like I would have done a third one. You know what I mean? Like a third option of lukewarm, and I bet you that would have gotten half the poll. So again, now I'm.
Thank you for
Yeah.
giving me poll
Yeah,
expertise.
there's
No
nothing
problem.
that Rexrode likes more than just ripping on Twitter polls.
Didn't
that
you
other people
just
put
learn
up.
how to do polls, Joe?
Yes, he's put up like 4 in his life, and he's the Twitter poll expert. It's unbelievable.
Well, no, but see, that's the mechanics of it where I'm bad. But the actual polling, I'm old. Like I used to read about polling in newspapers. You know, I used
You
to open
did.
it up in the morning. So, yeah, sorry. Like I said, don't take it wrong. All due
I don't.
respect.
With
No,
all due respect, let
Listen,
me tell
I
you.
appreciate you mentoring me.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
To be
Here's-
better.
Here's some disrespect for you. All right.
Keith on the text line says, theory, Poyle knows Forsberg is walking. Why bring in a new coach for the rebuild? This coming from Keith on the text line. I guess, maybe.
Okay, sure. We throw that in, too, with My Little Pony. And how about, okay, here's one. Monchichis. Oh, they are so cuddly. That's right up there.
That
Banner
will
day
be in
for
my
Rexrode.
nightmares.
Go YouTube Monchichis. They are kind of
What about the
freaky.
Chia Pet one? That's a good one.
Oh, Lord.
Chia.
There you go.
All right,
Now
I'm
we're
get out of
rolling.
here.
Now we're rolling on
We'll
the
see y'all
program.
later. Have a good day on the rest of the show. I got a text that says they know the Islanders fired Barry Trotz, right? You got a text from the text line like, you know that Barry Trotz is out there and available.
Yeah.
Right?
People saying that. I mean, at this point, if you're a Preds fan, when did that happen? When did he get fired? A week ago?
It was the same day, Game 4, Monday. Same day they got eliminated.
That's right. So a week and a half ago, he got fired. I mean, if you're a Preds fan at this point, still thinking, holding out hope, I mean, why? Like at this point, don't you kind of?
Because he hadn't been hired yet. That's why.
Yeah, but that's pretty clearly a sailed ship. So, I mean, I don't disagree with the sentiment, but I think it's pretty clear it's not happening.
Yeah. Now I will say this, and we'll never know the answer to this, but like if David Poyle didn't at least call him, I'd be upset if I was a Predators fan. You better call him and see if he's interested in coming back.
Like I said, this is Brady wanted to go with the Titans. This is going to be that. I promise you. With some people, I promise you, it will be turned into. And I heard that Trotz wanted to come to Nashville, and they didn't even make a call.
Yeah. Brady was 100% here. He was at MBA touring the school, for God's sake, with Giselle, and Titans they just chose Tannehill over him, man.
Yep. Who was that really again? We always forget.
It was like Steve Hutchinson
Yes.
or something, wasn't it?
Yes. Thank you. Yep. Nice job.
Brian in Portland says, oh, my goodness, Joe is so old. Love you, Joe. Brian, the text line.
Well, Gover sent in some of his options, including number 1 He-Man, which is a great
Yes.
choice. I don't know some of his other things. My buddy and me like to climb up a tree. My buddy. I don't know that at all. You know that?
I don't know what that
Dude,
is,
I
man.
have no idea what that is.
What?
Ben on
My
the
buddy.
text line says, if the owners cared that bad about the potential of buyout, then they wouldn't have let David extend John. This coming from Ben on the text line. Maybe. I don't know for sure that they would care about a buyout. Maybe they, if you have to end up firing John Hines at some point before the contract's out, maybe they don't care.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And really, this is a good opportunity to learn more about something. I don't know how NHL coaching contracts are structured in terms of, the buyout numbers and things like that. I mean, CapFriendly.com has about half the league's salaries reported.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's fully guaranteed money. So,
okay,
you got to pay him at some point.
So that'd be, so you drop if Hines is making in the $2 to $3 million range, which would be my guess. So, you may have to drop a couple, $2-3 mil.
Maybe.
I mean, again, look, if that's the case, that's even more reason to just go ahead and pick up the option. Or, one more year. I get it. I get why you would do it. I don't know that I would have done it.
Josh texting in says, why did this Hines deal feel like the Jeremy Pruitt deal? If Hines does poorly, next year it will be. We've had several mentions today on the text line of reminds him a little bit of the Jeremy Pruitt deal. The Jeremy Pruitt, Philip Fulmer contract extension, which they were very excited about at the time.
About to start biting some people in the butt or whatever.
Right. The balls are back. Wish we could have asked him about that yesterday.
God dang it. We didn't.
Balls are back.
That was my next question.
Yes. And pretty soon. Oh, boy. And I guess
that took a turn.
It did take a turn. Ron on the text line. No, he'd send us a YouTube video. I don't have time to look at that right now. But
Josh Michael on Twitter says on the Hines thing, I don't get it. His teams have lacked discipline and structure. This season we find ourselves in the hole to start a lot of games because of undisciplined penalties. Within the first few minutes we were in the box all year. His tinkering of the lines was brutal down the stretch.
Well, the discipline part, I think you can certainly make an argument there. I mean, they're the most penalized team in the league now. They also had a lot of fighting majors, so you put that in there as well, and people have a tough time separating the two. Fighting majors
they are different.
Do not put you on the penalty kill. So, well, most of the time they don't. The lacking of structure, I don't know if I necessarily buy that. Like I think they've got structure. Sometimes you just get beat. But I didn't think the Predators were just running around out there doing their own thing very much last year.
No. But, look, down the stretch, I feel like what he was talking about did happen a lot in a lot of those games.
Sure.
And they played poorly. They played poorly in the D zone. You lose Saros, but before they lost Saros, they were regressing. So that's a valid criticism of John Hines.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, it is.
I'm interested to see today if he has gone back ever since your question on the last night and just identified what happened coming down the stretch in April and into the playoffs in May.
Yep. Carefully each game.
John, just seeing if you've had some time in between signing a new contract to go back and study some of that film.
That'd be a good way to ask it right there.
Maybe so.
Just about 90 seconds on each game, if you will. Go.
Coming up next, we'll be joined by Drake Hills from the Tennessean. Big win last night for Nashville SC. We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want the latest on the Predators from the people that cover them?
Heck of a year. Still so much fun to watch.
Join Robby Stanley for Preds Insiders every Monday at 6.
I feel probably as good about this group of 6 on D.
Presented by Dr. Kelly Rice on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money? A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with your family with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
Family Leisure has 40 spas on display from 3 of the biggest brand names: Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select. Prices starting as low as $29.99.
What about above ground pools?
Family Leisure has hundreds of pools in stock and on sale. Guaranteed installation before Memorial Day, starting as low as $29.99. Installed.
Wow, that's great.
If you're looking at a spa, I want some new patio furniture. Family Leisure has patio furniture from all the big brand names like Hanneman, Woodard, Jensen, and Apricity. There's more than 100 sets on display to choose from with free delivery.
That sounds good to me too. And maybe a new Sabre infrared grill to go with it.
We really should look at the wood play gym for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. It's Family Leisure's vacation at home sale going on now at both huge locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
If
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I have it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Ping I-525 irons and Glide 4.0 wedges. The Ping I-525 irons have a forged steel face, allowing for dynamic distance and a greater feel. The next generation Glide 4.0 specialty wedges are engineered for high spin performance with a lower launch. Get a free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN.
Welcome into the DDC.
Starting company is delivered. There's a new way to hear 102.5 The Game. Nashville's best sports talk on 106.3 FM. From downtown Nashville to Spring Hill on I-65 and to Murfreesboro on I-24. You now have two choices to hear our great sports programming.
Get the extra point, no problem.
And the Nashville Predators. Scores! Check out 106.3 now and save it as a preset.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt football head coach Clark Lee. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game, in the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Drake Hills from the Tennessean, who covers Nashville SC. Drake, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
Man, we're doing good, Robbie. We're doing good. How's you and Joe up there in the studio?
We're awesome, man. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. So, Drake, I'm interested to get your thoughts. There's been a few games now at Geodis Park, and I've really enjoyed the atmosphere and what I've heard from there. Obviously, the unbeaten streak at home stretches back to Nissan Stadium, and you're at 560 days at this point, which is just incredible what they've been able to put together. What have you made of the environment and just how things have operated so far from a fan perspective at Geodis Park, and certainly the way the team has played there as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a fan perspective, one thing I've really noticed, and this goes back to even the first game, it didn't really take long to notice how more of an emboldened identity that it's clear when you walk around the stadium, whether you actually got a ticket and you're actually inside, or you can just walk around where in the vicinity of where Geodis Park is, and more times than not, you will see fans in jersey, not just in Nashville SC gear, a T-shirt or a hoodie or a tank, but actual official Nashville SC jerseys. And that's something that I didn't quite get to see. I mean, even when you walk around Nissan Stadium at the end of 2020 when fans were allowed in limited capacity, and then, of course, last year in 2021 where of course, it really eventually led into unlimited capacity at these. Even if, in the summertime when there was no Preds, there was no Titans, and Nashville SC was basically a top 5 team in MLS and winning games, but you didn't get a chance to see that much, and obviously that's due in part to having an actual team store and having an actual home to go to, a hub. So you could really see the identity blossom at Geodis Park. But not only that, but it's a lot more engagement, and just with the way Geodis Park is built, the sound stays inside. So if there's a goal scored, if the ref makes a bad call, you can hear all of it, man. But it's clear that on the field, the second part of your question, that Nashville SC is just as confident as any other team in MLS. Of course, they started, their history in this stadium against, probably the second, I would say first or second best team in MLS in the Philadelphia Union. And, here they are the day after beating Montreal, who actually leapfrogged Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference standings. They basically handled Montreal for the entire match last night. So you see a lot more confidence. You see more of an assertiveness. And you've already seen some drama 1 week ago when they came back from 2 goals down to beat Atlanta United in the Open Cup.
Yeah, and so Drake, last night I see 26,000 attendance. I was wondering, obviously, fantastic, opener there. I mean, everything is great. People are excited. It's a great venue. But then, like, what are the things going to settle in at? Like, is it going? Because I believe that there was maybe a much smaller crowd after that, but that's a promising number. Do you feel like this place is going to be essentially filled the rest of the way?
That's a good question, Joe. I mean, I do think that, we won't see, if we do see a drop-off, I don't think we will see it anytime soon. I mean, it may perhaps, I think it's interesting to see what the international break does. Starting on Monday, there won't be any MLS games until June 11th in Nashville. So we'll see what, maybe a potential hiatus might do for interest. But, when you talk about, the what having a 30,000 seat stadium means is, some of the most engaging and the most attended, well-attended MLS markets, LAFC, their stadium is just under 25,000. You got, Providence Park in Portland, they're around that number as well. Austin FC, they're in the low 20s, I believe. Cincinnati is in, I believe, 26 or 27,000. When you have a 30,000 seat stadium, you're getting 26,000 for a midweek game, right? This is a Wednesday against Montreal. Like, this isn't a big rivalry game that we'll see against Atlanta on Saturday. So I think it's very interesting when you take a look at how potentially they can keep maybe even an average of around 24 to 26,000 fans. I don't think that we could potentially see a drop-off until, obviously the test will be when the Titans open preseason. We'll see what it's like in August. Obviously, for Nashville SC, they're not going to play back-to-back road games for the rest of the year. And, they're basically going to have, at most, 2 of basically 6 games a month on the road. So you're playing 4 games at home every month through the end of the regular season, which ends in the beginning of October. So I would say maybe August, maybe even September, but it still remains to be seen.
Drake Hill's from the Tennessean on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Drake, not a good performance against Houston. Gary Smith was pretty vocal about that performance and how disappointed he was by it. What did you make of the response last night for Nashville SC in a big 2-1 win?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was Gary Smith did say, he admitted, and I think that was a little bit of a potential, statement for the public. But I do respect that, he was essentially saying that he didn't really give the most accurate assessment of maybe how things had transpired in Houston. He, after the game last night, he maybe owned up to a little bit more of what had happened in Houston with, playing a group that, logged in a lot of minutes against Atlanta 1 week ago in the Open Cup. Turn around to play in that muggy environment. Unlike the Texans, Houston Dynamo plays in an outdoor open-air stadium. So it was muggy, it was hot, and, they got embarrassed. So Alex Muil, went in and said, the guy who scored the goal last night to really start this win for Nashville, he said, it didn't feel like, Nashville wasn't our DNA, what they did in Houston. So the response was, it wasn't really necessarily about the win, although, obviously that's what the long-lasting goal is. But what he was saying is, listen, it was more about, finding the identity again, playing like Nashville plays, which is, they're going to swarm you. They've got a high defensive work rate. They're defensively disciplined. They don't give up, any easy goals, any easy opportunities. And on top of that, they counterattack well, and they're very physical in set pieces. So, but I think we got even more of that from that with Nashville. They not only did that, but they actually were able to attack from the run of play, from the open flow of the game, and it boded well for them. They got a 2-1 win over Montreal.
Drake, I wanted to ask you a soccer question at large. Really big news yesterday. U.S. women's and men's national teams have agreed to separate collective bargaining agreements that achieve equal pay, identical economic terms. I know Walker Zimmerman was outspoken about this as well. What does this mean, and did you expect it to turn out this way?
Well, I mean, certainly the fight from the women and quite honestly, the representatives from the national team, the player representatives from the national team have been fighting for this for a long time. And credit to your colleague Meg Linehan from the Athletic, who's really been
beast,
just absolutely going hard on this storyline for some years now. And this is major for soccer in America, right? But this is clearly about what the women's national team has earned. Being a multi-time, we're talking about World Cup champions in terms of the U.S. women's national team. Now, this is big for the game in this country, and that's led by the women's national team. So I think it's going to be big not only just for the national team, but I think it's going to be something that could potentially affect domestic league play. We talk about the National Women's Soccer League, and there's certainly some fans here in Nashville that would like to see an NWSL team in Nashville. You see an expansion, obviously, in the Raleigh area. The North Carolina Courage has been, they've built a championship pedigree there. I think Atlanta is another market that we could see in the South region where, soccer on the women's side may grow, and you will see if they do expand into these markets. You will see national team players on those teams, and I just think that the talent and the interest of the game, but also the pedigree to go out and compete against any other team, any other country in the world, it's due in part to what this national team has done. So it's more than well deserved, and it can't be more exciting. But I will say though, I didn't see it coming now, but I could definitely respect the work that has been done for the past several years and how it would eventually come to fruition.
Drake Hills from the Tennessean, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, does an outstanding job covering Nashville SC for the Tennessean. Drake, great stuff as always. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
Absolutely. You as well. Drake Hills, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, let me tell you this. The NBA playoffs, they are underway, and it's one of the most exciting times in all of sports. And I tell you, my Miami Heat back in action tonight against the Boston Celtics. It's one of those things where if no Al Horford tonight, no Marcus Smart tonight, the Heat need to take control of that series. But one of the things I love about betting my favorite sports is that I'm always finding new player props or game props that I like. And what's cool about FanDuel Sportsbook is you can combine prop bets from multiple games and now even multiple sports as well. It's called Same Game Parlay Plus, and you can only find them on FanDuel. Combine NBA playoff player props you love with your favorite baseball home run hitters or your favorite scorers in the NHL for a chance to score an even bigger payout. So I mentioned the Heat and the Celtics. I like Jimmy Butler over on points. He has been an absolute beast in the playoffs so far. Give me Cale Makar over on points tonight as well against the St. Louis Blues. But you take it any way you want to take it. If you don't want to build your own same-game parlay, check out their popular same-game parlay section where you can join the bets other users are jumping on. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code ROB to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Make every moment more and download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code ROB so they know that I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is not withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Empire Auto Parts has opened a brand new location in Nashville, Tennessee. They're hosting a hiring event with giveaways, sign-on bonuses, and more happening at Holiday Inn Express at the Crossings, 201 Crossings Place, May 16th through 20th from 9 a.m. to noon or 2 to 5. Empire Auto Parts offers hourly pay, full benefits, 401k matching, and more. Current job openings for warehouse associate, delivery drivers, customer service agents, account managers, and dispatchers. Apply now on Indeed at Empire Auto Parts Inc. Jobs or visit their website at empireautoparts.com.
Bring your hive together with Spirited Hive. It's Hive O'Clock. What is Hive O'Clock? It's connecting or celebrating with your hive. A time to be present and create shared memories. At Spirited Hive, we become aficionados discerning what goes best with bourbon, tequila, and vodka in a canned cocktail. Bourbon whiskey with rosemary infused with honey and lemon. Tequila ginger infused with honey and lime. Or vodka cranberry infused with honey and lime. Available to purchase on reservebar.com or tap room for delivery within the hour. Join us at Spirited Hive on Instagram to see what the buzz is all about.
You purchased a fine European automobile because of the amazing drivability and great looks. Then someone slid into you during a rainstorm. European Collision Repair is Nashville's premier location for collision repairs. Their state-of-the-art facility is certified by 30 vehicle manufacturers. The best part is their customer service, and they can provide an estimate simply by you sending in a photo of your damage. If you have a fine European automobile, have the repairs done at European Collision Repair. Go to EuropeanCollisionRepair.com.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:35 on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds take on the Louisville Bats, the AAA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds, coming up at First Horizon Park. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9, presented by 312 Pizza, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Spirited Hive. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode here on ESPN 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks to Drake Hills from the Tennessean for joining us to discuss all things Nashville SC. Joe, last segment of the day here. Going to be an interesting press conference coming up at 11 o'clock here today. David Poile and John Hines will be addressing the media at 11 o'clock. You can catch that here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. What do you make of the press conference coming up? What would you like to hear from David Poile and John Hines? What do you think is going to be asked today at this press conference? That's a lot of questions.
I feel like this is a super overhyped press conference. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Like we've talked so much about this press conference even before we knew when it was.
We've been waiting on it for a long time.
We've been waiting on it, been talking about it. Then it gets announced, and it's like talked about yesterday. I did Jared versus Joe yesterday, and it was like that. You know, that was one of the questions from Caroline. You know, like, what do you want to hear? What do you expect to hear? Like, for this level of buildup, I expect like an opening act. You know, like at least a little bit of music, maybe some snacks. I mean, some kind of.
Now we're talking.
Because frankly, I mean, look, it is going to be an interesting press conference in all seriousness, and there are a lot of questions about where things are going. The hard part with that is, although I think that this is another line of questioning, but the hard part with that is that Philip Forsberg is not signed, which is, again, obviously a question and a line of questioning, but to me, that dictates where it's going, doesn't it? I mean, you have to figure that out, and then you figure out where you're going from there. But how could you really even, and frankly, if I was David Poile, I'd be like, all right, sorry, we got to sign Forsberg, then we can talk. Now, I won't have a press conference that day, but, well, actually, they probably will. If they sign him, they will.
If they don't
sign him, there's not going to be a press conference about, okay, guys, now here's the plan.
Let's gather around.
It's going to be, David Poile may have to get a burner account on the Preds dark web and just hide out.
It's a popular place today, the Preds dark web.
You think Poile has a burner?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a GM thing.
Well, let me tell you this: there are a lot of NHL players out there that have burner accounts.
Oh, sure,
whole lot of them.
I mean, they may
not all of them
KD.
are as frivolous with them as KD is, but there's a whole lot of burner accounts out there.
They're like, hey,
coaches, All sorts of stuff.
Why are you talking about Luke Cunnin? He's amazing.
Yeah.
Kook Lunnin. Anyway.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. No, obviously now we have more news because thanks to Adam Vingan from The Athletic, who reported a multi-year extension. Don't know exactly what that exactly entails. But, by the way, let me apologize because earlier in the show, well, actually it was Jaden who called in and told us that but there was a rumor of 6 years.
Yeah.
And so we found the source of the rumor, and it was Angry Preds Ryan.
It's like fourth time you mentioned him today, yeah.
I know. And so I've really
shout out to Ryan.
I've contributed negatively to the discourse. But as it turns out, he was joking. So thanks a lot. It really is an indictment of I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame for this. Now Jaden started it. I never would have seen it. But we perpetuated the stupid thing that just someone throws on Twitter, and now we're talking about 6 years.
We were.
It's not a 6-year deal for John Hines. I mean, like imagine if it was.
No sense.
Imagine if it was. A lifetime
That'd
deal,
go
John
well.
Hines. Yeah.
We have signed John Hines to a contract through 2039.
Which means he will be here at least for half of the term of David Poyle's new 12-year deal. Thank you. Good night. We will take no questions.
Dylan on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says the opening act will be Willie coming out and retelling what the plan is. It's coming from Dylan.
There is a plan.
Willie just sitting there at the press conference table. Guys, here to tell you this. I know some of you have been operating under the assumption that there's no plan. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is.
That reminds me. I think that's my question. When I get a question, this is my question. Talk about the plan.
Yeah, can you please talk about the plan?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's an interesting press conference. I'm sure it'll be well attended. That's why I wore jeans today and a shirt.
I wore shorts.
Yeah. It gets cold down there walking past, So, but what do I think will be said? I hope there is as much willingness to really elaborate on things honestly as possible. David Poyle, in general, is very good, especially relative to his peers.
Yeah.
For the most part. I don't think David Poyle's been in this situation. I think after the 19 season, it was clearly going the wrong direction. And then that was right before they moved Subban and they got Duchesne. And then it's been this weird, then COVID hits, all this stuff. I think this is probably the most embattled David Poyle has been. And I think deservedly so. I hope he is just willing to open up and talk about it. Because frankly, with John Hines, just for me, I know he's at the press conference and we can talk about the team and everything, but this is a much more of a David Poyle press conference, in my opinion.
I agree. I can tell you what I don't want to hear, and I don't think Preds fans want to hear. I don't want to hear this constantly regurgitated talking point of where they were picked in the preseason. I understand that.
Yeah, we've established that.
That's been established at this point. Look, I get it. I picked them to finish 7th in the Central Division, so I've talked about it. They overachieved, in my opinion, this year. But I don't want to sit here and listen. The fans are not going to want to hear, well, everybody picked us 7th in the preseason, so here it is.
Right. Preseason expectations matter just because they set the good or bad. You did better than expected. You did worse than expected. I mean, it's a large framer of the conversation, but it's been established. They exceeded the expectations of most, and the question remains from a fan base that now is not okay with just trickling into the playoffs every year. What are you going to do to compete for a Stanley Cup?
Yep. Got a texter that said, I used to work at a restaurant, and Shea Weber came in one day. So I'm scrolling Twitter while eating lunch. Shea Weber did not have Twitter, so there's a burner right there.
Mm-hmm. So there you go.
It's all over the place, man.
Do you think that he was just looking, or did he go find his little burner account and say, that PK Subban, I don't know. I don't know when this was.
I have no science to back this up. This is just a total guess on my part. For even those that have, an actual Twitter account, I'd say, 70% of professional athletes have a burner. 70%.
How about media? Do you have one?
I don't have one, but I could get one.
I don't either.
Joe, you have 5.
I am a angry Preds fan.
As you know, I just learned I can figure out how to do a poll question once every 3 months. So
And then just eviscerate everyone else's poll question. Yes, we know.
But if someone has a burner, I mean, Jared's like a real candidate for that, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I would say so.
Or if it's an Instagram burner, it's called a Finsta, a fake Insta. Max just said hi.
Just yelling.
Hi, Max.
Greg on the text line says, Joe, you need to stop listening to Twitter accounts with the name Pred Sliced Bread. It's coming from Greg on the text line.
I listen to those accounts?
Speaking of sliced bread, it looks like Jimbo Fisher having a press conference today at 10 o'clock. So in like 6 minutes. Looking forward to that.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry, Greg. I totally went over my head. I'm like, wait, totally I thought it was Angry Pred.
Wait, Pred Sliced Bread? What is that?
It's okay, Joe.
Hey, you got this guy named Sliced Bread. So really, there's a Jimbo presser today?
Yeah,
amazing.
10 o'clock.
Real quick, your mom was surprised that, Robbie, your mom was surprised I didn't know My Little Buddy or My Buddy?
Yeah, My Buddy.
I don't remember it at all. I saw the commercial. It's freaky. Someone said in the text line it's like Chucky. I agree. And it's basically a Cabbage Patch Kids ripoff. I don't remember that at all. It's freaking me out.
It's pretty terrifying. I've never seen that in my life before, but apparently that commercial was from 1985, so that's significantly before my time anyway, but it was pretty upsetting.
And that adds up to Cabbage Patch ripoff. They got huge in like 83, 84, so that adds up. But I wish I never knew that. But I am glad to be able to recite Monchi Cheese and My Little Pony songs.
Yes, we're all very glad. We may have to clip that up later and tweet it out just for your pleasure.
Oh, yeah. Please don't do that.
That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. The DDC coming up next. We're looking ahead to the John Hines David Poyle press conference coming up at 11 o'clock. This is ESPN 102.5 The Game.